talking some Georgia recruiting with Jake Rowe of Dogs HQ. Jake, what do you think's been the most interesting storyline this offseason when it comes to Georgia recruiting?
Oh man, it's the if you're dealing with the fans on a daily basis, it's the roller coaster aspect of it. It was in April and May. It was, oh my God, Georgia's going to get roasted on the recruiting trail. They're not getting anybody, and then they get 9 commits in 9 days, and then they get, I think overall it was something close to like 20 commits in 65 days or something. It was wild, and then you end up with James Johnson flipping. You don't get Tyler Atkinson. The whole situation with Chase Callicut's going on. And it's just been one thing right after the other, kind of, bouncing back and forth. But ultimately, I think if you talk to a lot of Georgia fans, they'll tell you this is shaping up to be another elite class. It's another really, really strong class. It's vintage Kirby Smart and kind of how and the way he recruits. And ultimately, there's a lot of really good players in there, and they're meeting some huge needs. I mean, defensive line's loaded, defensive backfield's loaded. The 2 top recruits in the class, 2 highest rated recruits in the class, are offensive skill guys. And that's if you want to try to take a knock at Kirby's recruiting, it's a lot of the elite recruiting in the past has been defensive guys. Most of the elite recruiting. Well, they've got the top, one of the top quarterbacks in the country, no longer the top quarterback in the country, in Jared Curtis, but he's a top 10 overall prospect. And then they got Caden Prothrow, who's kind of a do-it-all big playmaker. So they're checking off so many boxes, and the not the least of which, it was something that needs to be brought up, is they got one of their top running back targets as well in Jay Lamar, a guy that everybody wanted. So the class itself, it has shaped up to be incredible, but it's just been the story has been the roller coaster aspect of it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how the message board just oscillates between the sky is falling and we're getting everybody, and it's just There is no in between. It's one or the other, and for good reason. I mean, you're right. That run from late May into late June, where they picked up like 20 commitments in a 5 or 6 week period, was almost unmatched, really. So it's been like everybody, it's been an up and down roller coaster ride for Georgia fans, but number 2 in the country right now. I mean, what could you possibly, with the number 1 quarterback in America, what could you possibly want? Of course, there's others. And there's some more additions that could come just moments before we went to tape. Offensive lineman Brett Collegier announced that he's going to make an announcement where he's going to school on August 1st. So Brett Collegier, he's been on the board for Georgia. I know there's others involved, but where do you think the Dogs sit?
This is one of those, Josh, a lot of times when a guy says he's announcing, you feel like he's going to be leaning heavily somewhere, right? Like you don't really want to announce until – I do think this one, though, is still up in the air a little bit. And I think Georgia is as much in it as anybody else. I mean, I think – my gut tells me at this particular moment, and I will say this, I haven't really gotten an update in the past 3 or 4 days, but week ago, 2 weeks ago, it really seemed like Georgia USC, and Miami was kind of fading there a little bit. I don't know where Miami is as of now, but I know that coming out of his official visit to Georgia, the Bulldogs felt really, really good. And you've heard some good things about Georgia here lately as far as that recruitment goes. I do know that they very much want him, and he would fit a big need in the class. One thing I love about Brett Collegier is he is considered an interior prospect, but he's in that 6'5" range with those 33 and a half inch arms. He's one of those guys that, if you say, hey, how are you going to play the game for the next 15 years of your life, you're probably going to play it on the interior, most of it on the interior. But I also like the fact that he reminds me a little bit of Micah Morris in this way for Georgia, that, true interior guy, but can also kind of bump out and maybe play tackle for you as well. So I do think Georgia is very, very much in this race for the time being, and we'll kind of see how things go as you get closer to the announcement.
Yeah, and that'll take place on Friday. Then on Saturday, defensive lineman Anthony Lonan, he's going to make a August 2nd decision. Yes, that's Saturday. And it seems like this is an in-state battle that Georgia should win.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. I mean, he's a Georgia legacy. His brother played for a year his dad played for a year at Georgia with Kirby Smart. Clark Central High School. One of the funny things is you look at his profile, and one of the features I love about our profiles at On3 is, or I guess it rivals now. Now that I'm saying it, one of the things I like about that is distance. thing right there,
Yeah.
it's just blank because all he's got to do is cross the street and he's on Georgia's campus. I do like this guy a lot though, Josh. I really do. You start talking about, well, he doesn't have ideal size. No, I mean he's 6'2". He's not small by any means, 6'2", 270, but he's not that Trey Scott, who's Georgia's defensive line coach, vintage Trey Scott, like 6'4", 6'5", super long arms, two gap guy, one gap guy. This is a upfield playmaker, tons of tackles for a loss, sack. Probably, if Georgia gets him, it's probably going to be an interior DPR, designated pass rush guy on first or on third down. But at the same time, could probably bump out and play 5-tech, 4-eye technique on first and second down and defend against the run. I like him a lot. And I know Charles Power really elevated him in these last Rivals rankings, or I guess in the initial Rivals rankings, industry rankings, stuff like that, Rivals 300. But I do think he's kind of on the rise as a prospect. It looks like Georgia's in really good shape here.
All right, and then we got one more probably coming off the board before summer's over. That's running back Savion Hyder. He set a decision date for August 19th. We know Georgia's been involved. They got him on campus a couple times, but how big of a factor are they heading into this August 19th decision?
Man, what a difference a year makes in a recruitment, because this time last year I thought Georgia was in phenomenal shape. I think Georgia's on the outside looking in here. They would love to add him. There's no doubt about it. I do believe if you were to get Josh Crawford and the rest of Georgia's coaching staff in a moment of candor and look at their board and stuff like that, he's probably the number one running back on it. But it just seems like Georgia has kind of faded here in this race. That might have something to do with money. That might have something to do with other schools have done a better job recruiting him. I'm not going to tell anybody that Georgia just recruits everybody the best, and every time they lose somebody, it's because of money. But I do think that Georgia's – I wouldn't even consider him a dark horse at this point. I would be very surprised if Georgia landed Savion Hyder.
Yeah, and like you said, when guys set that decision date, they're usually leaning in one direction, and it seems like Michigan and Tennessee is the direction he's leaning right now, not so much Georgia and Ohio State, who were also heavily involved at different points. 30 total commitments for the Dogs, number 2 ranked class in the country. We see there's a couple more pieces on the board that they could add before it's all over, but who are you most excited about from this current group of commitments?
Man, there's a lot of really good players in this group, but Aane Bokco is one that he's a highly rated guy, Josh, and you see kind of, I don't know that he has a chance to get into the 5-star range. There's a lot of tackles that are in that 5-star range already. But the thing I like about him is he's highly rated, and I don't think he's come close to playing his best football yet. And he's from a tackle standpoint, he has everything you want. He's a big, lean athlete who carries a lot of weight, but he carries it well. I'm really excited about kind of his long-term projection, because he's super long, he's physical. There are a lot of really good schools that were in it for him, and he's one of, it's kind of odd here, he's one of 3 guys who is committed to Georgia, who either their older brother plays at Georgia now or he played at Georgia. There's PJ Dean's in there as well. Carter Lucky is also in that group. But Aane Bokco, also because of the premium position aspect of it, Georgia, it's harder now to do what Georgia was doing under Sam Pittman and to a lesser extent Matt Luke for a couple of years, which is sign 2 or 3 5-star offensive linemen in one class. It's a rev share, NIL, all that stuff going on with money. Everybody kind of has to kind of go for the one guy, and he's kind of that crown jewel of Georgia's O-line class. And I think Aane Bokco is a fantastic player who just has a long way to go before he's going to get to that ceiling. And those are the kind of guys you like, the ones that are really good now but can get a lot better.
All right, Georgia fans, talk to us. Who was your favorite player in this class so far? Let us know. Comment section below.